Joseph's story begins not with triumph, but with tension. He is young, favored by his father Jacob, and given a robe that sets him apart from his brothers. What was meant as a gift becomes a symbol of division. Joseph is loved openly, while his brothers feel overlooked, forgotten, and resentful. And then Joseph dreams. He dreams that his brothers' sheaves bow to his. He dreams that the sun, moon, and stars bow before him. These dreams are not born out of pride, but they are spoken without wisdom. And instead of understanding, they ignite hatred. Scripture says his brothers hated him so much that they could not speak peacefully to him. This is often how God's calling begins, not with applause, but with misunderstanding. Joseph's dreams were real. They were from God. But having a dream does not mean the path will be easy. Sometimes the very vision God gives you becomes the reason others turn against you. One day, Jacob sends Joseph to check on his brothers in the fields. Joseph obeys, unaware that obedience will lead him straight into betrayal. When his brothers see him coming, they plot to kill him. Their words are chilling. Here comes this dreamer. They strip Joseph of his robe, the symbol of favor, and throw him into a pit. The scripture tells us the pit was empty. No water, no escape. Imagine the silence, the confusion. One moment you are walking in obedience, the next you are abandoned by the very people who know you best. Eventually, they pull Joseph out, not to save him, but to sell him. For 20 pieces of silver, Joseph is handed over to traders heading to Egypt. His brothers go home, stain the robe with blood, and let their father believe Joseph is dead. Joseph is alive, but everything familiar is gone. This is the first hard truth of Joseph's life. God's plan does not protect him from pain. It carries him through it. Joseph arrives in Egypt as a slave, far from his family, his language, and his land. Yet Scripture says something remarkable. The Lord was with Joseph, not after he succeeds, not after he is promoted, but while he is enslaved. Joseph is purchased by Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. Over time, Joseph proves faithful in small things. He works with integrity. He does not complain. He does not give up. And because the Lord is with him, everything he touches prospers. Soon, Joseph is placed in charge of Potiphar's household, from slave to overseer, from pit to responsibility. But favor does not mean protection from temptation. Potiphar's wife notices Joseph. She repeatedly tries to seduce him. Day after day, Joseph refuses, not because he fears punishment, but because he fears God. "How could I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" he says. Joseph chooses righteousness even when no one is watching, even when it costs him, and it does cost him. Falsely accused, Joseph is thrown into prison. Once again, obedience leads him downward instead of upward. Once again, he loses everything he gained. But listen closely, the scripture repeats the same phrase. The Lord was with Joseph. In the prison, Joseph does not harden his heart. He serves, he helps. He interprets dreams for 2 prisoners, the cupbearer and the baker. Joseph asks only one thing in return: remember me. But he is forgotten. Days turn into months, months into years. Joseph remains in prison, faithful, unseen, and waiting. And this is where many people give up, because the space between promise and fulfillment is often long, silent, and painful. But God is still working, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Joseph's story is not over. It is only being prepared. 2 full years pass after Joseph interprets the dreams of the cupbearer and the baker. 2 years of silence, 2 years of waiting, 2 years where nothing seems to change. Joseph is still in prison. This is one of the most painful parts of the story, not because something bad happens, but because nothing happens at all. The promise feels distant. The dreams feel forgotten. And yet, Scripture never tells us that Joseph stops trusting God. God's delays are not denials. They are preparation. Then one night, Pharaoh dreams. He dreams of 7 healthy cows rising from the Nile, followed by 7 thin, sickly cows that devour them. He dreams again, 7 full ears of grain, swallowed by 7 scorched and thin ones. Pharaoh wakes troubled. None of Egypt's magicians or wise men can interpret the dreams. And suddenly, memory returns. The cupbearer remembers Joseph. In a moment, everything shifts. Joseph is rushed from the prison, shaved, cleaned, and brought before Pharaoh. One day he is forgotten in a cell, the next he stands before the most powerful man in the world. But notice how Joseph responds. Pharaoh asks, "Can you interpret dreams?" Joseph does not claim credit. He does not say yes out of pride. He says, "It is not in me. God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer." Joseph has learned something in the waiting: humility. Joseph explains that the dreams are one message: 7 years of abundance are coming, followed by 7 years of severe famine. He advises Pharaoh to prepare wisely while there is time. Pharaoh recognizes that the Spirit of God is in Joseph, and in an astonishing turn, he does not simply thank Joseph, he promotes him. Joseph is placed over all Egypt, second only to Pharaoh himself. He is given authority, a signet ring, fine garments, and a new name. The prisoner becomes a ruler. The forgotten becomes indispensable. Joseph is 30 years old. 13 years have passed since the pit. This is the second great truth of Joseph's life. God's timing is precise, not early, not late, exact. Joseph oversees the storing of grain during the years of abundance. When famine spreads across the land and beyond it, people come to Egypt for food, including Joseph's brothers. They do not recognize him, but Joseph recognizes them. The moment he is dreamed of now stands before him. The very brothers who betrayed him bow before him, just as his dreams foretold, but Joseph does not reveal himself right away. He tests their hearts. He watches how they treat one another. He listens as they speak of guilt, remorse, and regret. He sees change, slow and imperfect, but real. Joseph weeps in private. This is important. Power did not harden Joseph. Pain did not destroy him. Waiting did not corrupt him. God shaped his heart. Joseph places his brothers through trials, not to punish them, but to reveal who they have become. He wants to know if they are still the same men who sold him, or if God has been at work in them too. Eventually, the truth can no longer be hidden. Joseph sends everyone out of the room. He weeps loudly. And then he speaks the words his brothers never expected to hear. "I am Joseph." Fear grips them. They expect judgment, retribution, justice. But Joseph says something that reveals the heart God formed through years of suffering. "Do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life." Joseph does not deny their sin, but he sees beyond it. What they meant for evil, God was using for good. And this moment prepares us for the final, most powerful truth of Joseph's story, one that speaks directly into our own suffering, our unanswered prayers, and our deepest wounds. That truth is still coming.